Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hear Me Out Pitch, or welcome back if you're returning. I'm Tim.
And I'm Willem.
And... blech.
Blech!
I did not...
What?
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
I thought it was cute. It was cute. It was cutesy. It was a good thing to watch. Would I have watched it in theaters? Probably not. Was it better than... Was it better than Madam Web?
No, I enjoyed...
Really?
I liked Madam Web.
Oh, wow.
I hated the visual effects from Madam Web.
But story-wise, you liked Madam Web?
But story-wise, I loved Madam Web way more than...
Oh, wow.
I'm sick of Marvel. If you haven't figured it out, we're talking about the Marvels.
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
I'll admit, I have...
Tim made a list.
Yes,
He made a list, and he checked it twice.
More than twice.
More than twice.
Yeah, I made a list of things that I did not care for about this movie. And it wasn't like... There were a couple things that it was like... This particular thing bugged me. There were others that it was like, this is boring. Like,
honestly, this might be a critique episode, I guess. Maybe I'll just add a few counter arguments. First off, I'm not sitting here saying that this is like a top 10 Marvel movie for me. It wasn't. Would I put it in the top 20? Probably not. Would I put it as it was cute, it was fun, and having three sisters and watching many of their little like princess movies growing up, did I appreciate this for what it was? Yeah, but it's just a princess movie, and it literally had a singing princess moment. I died because I looked at Tim and I was like, how do you like this part? I'm kind of enjoying it.
I was on my phone writing down musical in a mainstream Marvel movie. That bothered me.
For anyone who is interested, also, I'll probably be putting on YouTube as well, but I made with TikTok a video of us watching it, and there's just segments, and it's very silly, really weird. I just wanted to try it. I'll try to post it on YouTube. And yeah, it's just funny. So hopefully anyone who listens to us on YouTube, you'll actually get to enjoy our first video that we've made. But it's just a cheesy TikTok video reaction. But I don't care. I thought it was fun.
It wasn't a terrible movie. Again, a lot of the movies that we've talked about recently, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it.
Has there ever been any of the movies that you just hated?
Babylon AD.
I know. Okay, I just walked into that one. But yeah, it's so intriguing that we think about it. So I think about that movie. We think about it
because it was so bad.
Just because it had so many things. I want to read the books to figure out what the guy was going for. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know it was based off a book. And maybe we should just do more movie book adaptations and just talk about it and spin them our own way, Tim, because I'm getting kind of sick. Because most people are just disappointed in that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, though, give me your list. I am ready. Tim does all the work here. Tim does all the writing. Tim does everything. I just edit stuff, and I just give funny ADHD tangents. So I don't know if you guys have done this by now. It was a genius move on my part to add Tim to my team on this. So, laziness.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me all the things to do. No, in all reality, you do most of the work.
Oh.
Anyway, let's start with my problems with this movie. The first one, it's just the humor.
Okay.
It's classic, the classic...
trying to mimic Guardians of the Galaxy humor, but not getting it. There were a few scenes that got it. And the thing is, you got to admit, every Marvel movie that tries to mimic this humor, which is all of them, there are a few scenes that land.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I can see where you're going with that. But for the most part, it's too much. Even Guardians of the Galaxy, there are some scenes I'm like, all right, I did not need that joke from Drax right there, but it's okay. In our opinions. But for the most part, Guardians of the Galaxy ruined the humor of Marvel because they tried to copy it.
Yeah.
Everyone went, oh, this was fun and outgoing. Let's try to do this. If you watch the first Marvel movies before Guardians, different tone.
The humor in the older Marvel movies is very situational. It's quick-witted. It's
Fast.
genuinely funny. Like it's the kind of humor that you would have in a genuine like conversation or everyday life.
Does Mother know you weareth her drapes? That was funny.
It was funny.
Captain America going, I got that reference. Because you feel bad for him, too. And you're like, okay, that's kind of funny. He finally got one. Him calling Thor Point Break. If you know what the Point Break movie is, then you'll appreciate that. But now it's just trying to do too many awkward, uncomfortable...
Lots of sexual jokes just because...
It works with Guardians.
It works with Guardians of the
and they don't do a
Galaxy.
lot... There was not a lot of sexual jokes.
This movie, they did not.
They
no.
better not have, because
It was
Kamala was
impressive.
just too sweet. I love
16 years
Kamala.
old.
She's adorable. Oh, sorry, my hallway is deciding to interrupt us.
I think my issue with modern Marvel movies is the humor. One of my main issues. I have a few, and I'll as you guys know if you've been listening, but a big one is the humor, because most of the time recently it doesn't land, and it's like forced humor. It's not funny. It just feels cringy. That was number one. That was my very first big problem with the movie. It isn't my second. It wasn't the second one I wrote down, but the musical segment.
Which musical segment? There's technically two.
The first bit. Three, because there was the introduction to Kamala's character, and she's doing her, superhero intro thing. The music.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I was
You're
checking
fine.
something, and my phone. Oh my gosh! I was just checking something real quick, and then my phone said, "Hey, I'm gonna open you up to something." Oh, I'm so rude. But I get where you're coming from. It was random. It was awkward. I don't know. I think it might have been a love note to Bollywood and a love note to just Disney musical. I was calling out that she was like, "Oh my gosh, Captain Marvel's now a Disney princess," because she's on this planet and they only sing, and it is weird.
It was weird,
It's like,
and it felt out of place. Her changing into a dress was kind of cool, because the dress was her suit.
Loved it.
It looked really cool. But aside from that, and like the whole,
But why?
I don't know.
You're,
It just
exactly.
felt
It's just
weird.
Why? I mean, it's fun. It's cute. It's fun. But you're taking away from this brief moment. Like, it would have been funnier if. I don't even know. I wouldn't mind if, like, this place they only sing or they, like, have musical notes. But it would have been better if they are in more of a rush and they're trying to sing, and maybe they get pulled in, and it's like a brief minute of them singing, pulled in. The king comes, and I wish if they would have cut it a couple minutes and really brought the intensity of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe even halfway through the song, one of the what was the holes in the sky? What do they call
The
those?
warp point.
The warp point opens up and immediately starts taking up the water. That would have made it go, okay, it's time to stop singing. Let's get going. I could have seen that. I could have maybe passed that. But other than that, why have a race that just sings? I did like the bilingual joke. That was funny.
It was funny. The bilingual joke was funny, and that is a good example of situational
and that would have
comedy.
worked. Yeah, that would have been just
It would
great.
have worked. But the whole everything else from that scene just felt it just felt out of place, and it was way too long. It was way too long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was a scene that was like I would have gotten up and walked out of the theater at that point. Like,
Really?
if I had gone to see it in theaters, that probably would have. I've never walked out of a movie theater before.
Neither have I. Actually, no, that's not true. I have not, but my friend, and I already had seen the movie, and he was just like, I'm not feeling it, and I got that. It was actually Guardians of the Galaxy 2, funny enough. But I've never walked out of a theater. and I try hard to go to movies that aren't. I almost walked out of Ant-Man. That one was pretty close.
Really?
Yep, the third one.
Quantumania?
Yeah, Quantumania.
I probably would have walked out.
The part where he says, like,
MODOK.
the part was like, don't be a jerk. He doesn't say jerk, but I'm not going to say that because we're trying to keep clean language here. But yeah, that was the point where I was like, wow, this was really dumb. For anyone that's interested, we have done an episode about that movie because I was
Indeed.
sick of it. Indeed.
Indeed. Yeah.
You know, it's Kratos, right?
Indeed. another issue, and this point is a two-piece point.
Ooh, I love two pieces. First off, I was trying to be funny, but that actually works perfectly. I'm keeping that in. That was funny.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is a two-part point for my issue, for this issue. The story. It felt all over the place. It didn't feel very connected. And the bands were just another MacGuffin.
We didn't watch the show,
We didn't.
so that could have
And
been a bigger point.
I will. That is another point
So I'll
that I'll get to in a minute.
I'll interject with that and say we didn't watch the show, so we can't complain about the bangle. Maybe I believe that was a bigger issue than.
Oh, I know it was a bigger issue in the show because they kind of made sure we understood that. Also, just felt like another MacGuffin. It just. And Marvel.
A far-reaching MacGuffin.
Marvel really likes their MacGuffins. We had it with the Book of Vile Darkness, or whatever it was called in
That also was kind of mentioned in the show.
Yes, I know. I'm
But
just
they
saying
do
in
like
general, a
MacGuffins.
MacGuffin. Thor's hammer is a MacGuffin in the Thor movie, in the first Thor.
Oh gosh, Warbreaker, yeah. Well, how do you
no,
make it?
in the first Thor,
Oh, yeah.
Mjolnir was a MacGuffin.
You always need a. Wow, my voice kind of cracked a little bit. I'm going to puberty again. But how does one do a movie without a MacGuffin? Without a.
Well,
point?
it is difficult, I'll admit, but
We have MacGuffins in our D&D campaign.
yeah,
We have 5
It's true.
that have been really hard to freaking get, Tim.
Good luck.
No, hate you.
And I will concede that it is a MacGuffin is just it is an object or a person or a place or a thing that drives the story forward. And for this movie it was the bangle, but the bangle didn't.
Well, there was more. There was the Kree superior. I forgot how they called her. The Dominator or something. I forgot her name.
Superator.
The Kree Empire was falling apart, and they needed to steal resources, and I kind of liked that. I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh, and then it was Carol's fault. I was like, oh.
No, and I will say that there were bits of the story that were really, really cool.
Solid.
I did enjoy. I liked how it was Carol's fault.
So sorry.
I thought it was cool. It was Carol's fault. I thought the whole stealing other worlds' resources.
And each one was
Great.
one that Carol loved.
So it was a direct target on Carol. I thought it was cool. I just the path that they took to get there.
It was a long stretch.
It took one. I felt like it took a little too long to get where we're going, and two, I felt like there were too many weird stops on the way.
Yeah.
Or unnecessary stops on the way.
Okay.
Story-wise and
Entertainment-wise?
entertainment-wise.
Okay. All right, maybe let's just keep going through your list, and then we'll talk about what you would change. Because I have a question about the MacGuffin then of how you would change it. So
The other we touched on this briefly.
It's a 2-piece.
Well, that is the two-part. The
Okay.
MacGuffin and the story.
Okay.
Just didn't feel great. Another issue that I had is that, they want to make these movies so that you don't have to watch the show to understand everything.
Well, that's what they promised us, and they lied.
And they lied.
They lied.
I don't we didn't watch Marvel's Miss Marvel.
I did watch WandaVision, so I knew about Captain Rambo's story. Which, Captain Rambo, I thought that they did so... Oh, I thought she, to me, was the highlight of the movie. I'll admit. Captain Rambo killed it.
I agree.
I loved her. I think for me, if we're going to rank all three, it would be Captain Rambo, Captain Marvel. Actually, no, honestly, Miss Marvel, and then...
See,
Captain. I don't know.
I would put Captain Marvel over Miss Marvel.
I think it's because we don't have that good connection. I understand her character more from the comics, and I've kind of gotten a brief thing of what they've done with Marvel.
Well, and we understand because we've seen her movie before. Plus, we had Endgame.
Which I think was so awesome that they kind of... I wish they touched upon that a little more, that... And I wish... Ooh, no, we'll talk about it. I want to see her more of your issues. I wish y'all could see my hand motions while I'm talking up to him.
I just wish I didn't have to watch, 12 hours of a show that I'm going to be probably disappointed or bored with.
Oh, we have to do that with The Mandalorian, aren't we?
Probably. I'm not... I like The Mandalorian. Season 3 didn't land for me, the first several episodes, so... But talk about that another day.
We'll talk... that might be a good episode.
So anyway, that's that issue. Another issue I had, and this is less of an issue and more of just a note that I see. The villain...
Forgetful.
Felt very much like...
forgettable.
She was very forgettable, but she also felt like a wannabe Hela from Thor.
Oh, I thought she was just exactly... I thought she was exactly what she was meant to be, a mini Ronin.
Yeah.
Died the same way, too, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Overloaded with power. Couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. I wish she could have been such a stronger... She had her moments. She had her moments where I was like, that right there is the Kree Empire. That right there is the Kree that I grew up watching in the cartoons, reading in the comics. I want to say right now, I fully am on board with them calling Sword Saber. Full on think that works for the MCU. It'll be awesome if in other universes they're called Sword, but Shield and Saber... if anyone doesn't know what Saber and Sword is, Sword originally is just the space unit, basically, of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. And Carol Danvers was always a part of it and worked with a Captain Marvel who was an undercover Kree agent. And due to an accident, his radiation, blood, and it was a he in the comics, affected Carol, and she turned into Captain Marvel, and her powers amplified with the combination of human and Kree DNA. So Captain Marvel is... I'm going to say this, and this will be the closest I am to saying anything vile. A BAMF. She really is in the comics. I honestly love Captain Marvel, and she is like the Wonder Woman and Superman hybrid of Marvel. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes they've fallen... I don't know. I want her to be used more, but not... I don't know what I want from Captain Marvel. That's another issue that I've got with Captain Marvel's character in general.
She's gone.
It's her power. Like, she is way overpowered. And then there's other scenes where she's underpowered, and it's like
taking a bullet and getting thrown across the room, and you're like...
and it just makes no sense. Like... I don't know. She has the power, according to this movie, to restart a star.
She did have the bangle. But still... That's a lot.
She still had the power to do that. She's destroying ships. She destroyed Thanos' ship.
That was I will admit, I was like,
it was an
in the
epic
theater.
moment. And then there were other moments. Yes, I understand the Thanos punch. It was the full concentrated power of the Power Stone.
Okay, I will fight
get it.
anyone on that scene, because that scene is showing how smart Thanos was. Because he was getting overpowered, she is that strong, and she was getting the upper hand, just like Thor did with Stormbreaker at that thing. He got overpowered for a split moment and had to use his... If Thor would have hit his head, Thanos would have died. Carol is basically a Stormbreaker. She is made to kill...
She is made to be powerful.
Yeah, she is. And Thanos had to be smart. He took the Power Stone out and punted her across the room. And I cheered because I was like, that was a very smart Thanos thing to do. He was able to sucker punch 3 of Marvel's strongest characters. Thor, Hulk, and Captain Marvel. I will always think Thanos is the best Marvel villain.
Yeah.
Period.
No, I agree.
Oh, and they wasted Scarlet Witch because she was the only one that held him down. Sorry.
I just...
Sore spot for Tim.
There's those moments there is an issue that I have with Endgame in that scene when she gets just sucker punched across the universe from Thanos' punch.
It wasn't across the universe.
It wasn't, but it just felt like they were Marvel was like, here's a really powerful character. She's not gonna do anything. It's a very poor replication of Tom Bombadil in Lord of the Rings. If you don't know who that is
that the giant bear?
Go read the books. He's one of the most powerful characters in the entirety of Middle Earth.
Oh,
and he
I did not know that.
Doesn't do much. He's not even in the movies. So,
I thought he was the one in The Hobbit.
No.
Oh, okay, but that
Anyway.
was the full effect of the Power
It
Stone.
was, but it felt like a cop out. It felt like a cop out. They had her come in and then she was gone instantly. We didn't get to see her do much aside from destroy the ship.
She showed the ship. She led Peter,
She did.
and she...
I just feel like they could have done more with her without having Thanos punch her across the universe.
I will all, you know what, we'll agree. I think this will be a agree to disagree
Agree to
moment,
disagree.
because I appreciated how Thanos had to think on his heels, because he would have been stopped. He was gonna get stopped, and he went, nope. And people are like, well, how come she didn't get back up? Because that stone is literally made to destroy people. If it would have been half, more, actually probably more than like 9/10 of the Marvel cast, if anyone else would have been punched by that thing, dead. But
true.
Carol took it like a champ, and then
true.
sat there and went, "Ow!"
It's true.
And she tried to save it before, and then Tony saved the day. So, ooh, agree, disagree on that moment. Agree, disagree.
Yeah, I agree.
Agree, disagree.
I just feel like in this movie there was a similar moment with, we had the bad guy. I can't even remember her name. She was forgettable.
Oh my gosh, I know it's so bad.
I'm good with names.
I know, that's why I'm so shocked. We'll do an editor's note. I'll do an editor's note for them. Actually, no, I'll look it up while you...
Yeah, please do. I just feel like, there was the scene when they're fighting on top of the ship. Those ships, by the way, that like triangle-shaped ship, that's how I imagined the Uzun ships in my Star Wars.
I was gonna ask.
That's kind of how I imagined them to be.
Okay.
Anyway, there was the fight on there, and it was a cool fight, but then there was the moment when the bad guy just smacks Carol and she goes flying halfway around the world. Again, over exaggeration of distance, but still, it just felt, I don't know, it felt like a cop out. It felt like that power came from nowhere.
It did. Or they didn't emphasize it and get they didn't let us understand the full nature of this thing. And so her name was Dar-Benn.
Right.
Dar-Benn. Very odd name. I liked her motives. I liked what she is, but she was just forgettable. Just like, honestly, I always forget Ronan's name. It takes me a second, even though I know Ronan from all the cartoons with the Kree. He's always in it. He's the great judge.
See, I don't have an issue with Ronan's name. It's this character, Dar-Benn, she felt a little bit...
Meh.
It was me. She felt like a MacGuffin of a character. A MacGuffin of a villain.
I thought she had we need to just flesh her out more, or at least have more scenes with her.
That's exactly. We didn't see her enough. We didn't see her. We didn't see the aftermath of what she's done.
The scene with the Kree people taking off their masks and breathing fresh air for the first time hit me.
Was cool.
I was like, she has a purpose. She has a motive. The Kree Empire is dying, and if this woman does this right, she will unify the Kree again. Mm-hmm. And they will be saved from the Annihilator, who destroyed the Supreme Creator that they had. I forget.
The Supreme Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence, thank you.
I think that's
it's something like that. I'll do a double take on it. But it had good motives. Okay, so what are a few more points, and then I want to see what your opinion is.
The dialogue.
Yeah.
The dialogue. There was way too much technical jargon that fell flat.
That was the point.
I know.
They totally did that just to be like, just say all fancy words, and we just sat there like, that makes sense.
There was too much of it. And Kamala, who is a 16-year-old girl, she's a high schooler, shouldn't be making sense of that hardly at all.
She was lost a few scenes, but I get what you're saying.
Like, there were other scenes where Carol and I forget her first name.
Rambo. Captain Rambo.
Captain Rambo were talking, and they were using a bunch of technical terms, and even Nick Fury. Monica. It was Monica. Carol, Monica, Nick Fury, they'd be talking and using all these technical terms that, for one, me as someone in the audience, I want more of an explanation on what those terms mean if they're going to use them. And two, I just felt like Kamala understood too much. I
got you.
Like, she's supposed to be... I get it that she's smart, but also, like, these are terms that NASA would use, and that S.H.I.E.L.D. is using, and that aliens would use, and she's understanding too much of it. Mm-hmm. Like, if I don't get it, a 16-year-old shouldn't get it.
Maybe in this Marvel world, they learn this stuff in high school. I don't know. I'm trying to just be devil's advocate with it, whatever, but you're right.
Yeah.
If you don't know too much, because maybe they explained that in other shows, it felt like they were taking a lot from... I think you were right. I think they definitely could have had the Guardians at one point come in. I definitely think that would have been appropriate.
I think the Guardians of the Galaxy should have shown up, at least for a scene. We did see Valkyrie.
Like helping the Kree at one point would have been, or even helping the Singing Planet. That would have been awesome. Mm-hmm. You just hear, like, Star-Lords, they come flying in, and you just see Quill, like, going, "This is my kind of planet." You got to introduce it with rock music.
That planet, they just kind of left it, and we didn't see what happened to it after. That's another. That's another thing. I think that's where the Guardians of the Galaxy could have come in. They could have been like, "Carol, we got this. We'll take care of these people. You." Or even at the end of the movie, they just show, they show Carol kind of checking in, and you see Rocket on the phone. "Hey, Blondie." And, something like that. Something like that, where it's just
they're like sassing with each other.
More of like a cameo than anything.
Yeah, they're just very brief. You just hear Rocket's voice. "We got it." Like, "Oh, say hi to Nebula for me." "Oh, she's not here anymore." "What?" "Yeah, I got my own team." Wait, did this come out before or after that?
I don't remember.
I think it had to be after. I don't know. Either way, it felt like it could have been a cute thing, just because her and Rocket spoke frequently. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
That would have been really cute.
I
We're
would have
able
been.
to seal it up in his Rocket way. Rocket would have done something, or at least he would just supervised over it. And you just hear in the background, "I am Groot," and you're like, "Ah, cute, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous."
Fabulous.
Any other concerns, Tim?
I got two more.
Two
things.
more.
Two more issues. One of them isn't as much of an issue as it is. Again, just fell flat. The three main characters, their personalities, I feel like they just aren't. Their personalities aren't enough to carry the movie. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt. I felt like they're.
So, do you feel like they didn't have good chemistry?
Yeah. Well, and there were some scenes where some of the chemistry felt forced. There were other scenes that were really sweet, that the chemistry worked really well and that their personalities meshed really well. But then there were some scenes where I just felt like this character's just another carbon copy of Star-Lord with the jokes, and this character's, carbon copy of Tony Stark running away from his problems, kind of thing. That.
Well, we talked about. Funny enough, we talked about prodigals. We talked about people running away from their problems. It happens.
It does.
And Carol had this moment. She was running away from, or at least, I loved that she did not want to return home until she cleaned up her mess.
Yeah.
She thought she was saving the Kree people by killing the Supreme Intelligence. And it caused them to just fall apart because they relied on it. And when you rely on something so much, if you just destroy it, it can either work or it doesn't. You have a 50-50 chance, in my opinion. But the Kree people are power hungry. They are very power hungry sort of people. They are at war with
Everybody.
They don't get along with nobody else. And they are one of the best. They're like the Fire Nation. They are one of the best analogies of colonization and imperialism. It's just how it is. We'll just drop it there. Don't want to go too much into that, but I said what I said. The Kree people are just proud, strong, and if there's a power vacuum, they'll go for it. But I get it. I get what you mean. So what was your final?
My last thing is.
I just realized what it is. It's the cat scene, wasn't it?
No.
Oh.
Out of everything, the cat scene is not on my list.
Wow, good, because I kind of liked it.
It was funny. I thought it was stupid, but it was stupid funny.
It was stupid funny, and I could easily keep that in. Here's the sad thing. If you take out Kamala from this movie, and I'm not trying to say that is I don't like her as a character, but if you take out Kamala entirely, maybe they go visit her after, whatever, in some cute way for some reason, who knows. You take out Kamala, you take out the Bengals, and you just have this conflict of oh my gosh, I forgot Rambo's name again. Monica and Carol. And this conflict, I feel like that would already change entirely. No switching powers. It's just Rambo.
I did like the switching power. Not the switching powers, but switching places when they're using their powers. I thought that was cool.
It was cool, but I could go without it.
I could go without it. I agree.
If you have Carol and if you have Kamala in this, then that's okay. I could see it as her being. I don't know how we could interact with her. She could honestly be connected near the end, because maybe Carol and Monica touch the two ends of the. No, I just don't think it works. I think this needs to be a conflict between Carol and Monica, and that's it. This could just be a Captain Marvel sequel.
Yeah.
And that's all it has to be. I thought Kamala is adorable. I think that she definitely brought youth to the group. She brought a fresh take to things. She helped humanize Carol in a way, from being Captain Marvel to just Carol. But I just feel like if we just have this aunt, the surrogate aunt and surrogate niece. No, it's her aunt. It's her mom's best friend. My close friends have children. I am their uncle. Sorry, I'm thinking about it. If I think about them too much, I'll cry. I love you guys. If any of you listen to this, I love you guys. Y'all be good. Listen to your parents. But when you have friends and they have offspring and you truly love your friends, that's part of your friend.
Yeah.
That is a part of them.
When your friendship transcends friendship into family, that's when...
Do you think friendships last over lifetimes? Yes, it does. It goes into your friends' kids. It passes along. And you are meant to be So, wow. Ooh, can't think about it. So I just thought that these moments were so sweet. And I feel like no MacGuffin with the bangle, but I think the Kree...
I think... Because honestly, like I said, the bangle is a MacGuffin. Doesn't need to be there.
Nope.
It doesn't. Or it doesn't need to be a MacGuffin. It can be an artifact, an object used by the bad guy. It doesn't have to be...
I don't even think it's needed.
Driving point.
I think the big driving point...
Its powers are to rip holes in time-space. That's its use. And I think if that is what the bad guy used it for, and that's all it was used for, instead of she's chasing down Kamala because Kamala has a... that would then it's cool. A MacGuffin.
That would have been cool, though, for her to hunt down Kamala at the beginning, and then that's how Kamala gets affected.
Yeah,
but it's a long stretch. I think just humor me. Take away the bangles, and the Kree are just... They have weaponized the portals. They've just weaponized them.
That would work.
And they are messing things up. They are messing with things. They are basically playing with the essence of the Tesseract in a way, because that's what they're... If you haven't seen Captain Marvel, that's kind of what they were using to space travel.
That's how Carol got her powers.
Okay, so you have seen it. And I think that if they...
I like Captain Marvel. Okay. I think it's a good movie.
I thought it was very clever how they integrated the Infinity Stones and everything, and how they've created so many people. Carol is basically the Tesseract. Wanda is the Reality Stone. Vision is the Mind Stone. I thought we had so many cool things like that, and then we got weird. So just keep it that simple. Basically, the Kree have found a way to mimic that power. They have found a way to capture that essence. They're trying to they've made a fake Tesseract, but imagine it being huge, because you can never concentrate that much, but they just have this big...
It's a ship.
Anything.
And their ships have the capability to punch holes through space through these warp points. So that if they just use those warp points, and then they use some new technology that they're developing that malfunctions, so it permanently tears open.
That's how they weaponize it.
That's how they would...
They would weaponize it. They go, how did you do that? Let's do it again, because we have some things to do.
Yeah. Because I'm running out of time. Here's my issue, my final issue with this movie. I think that Dar-Benn's death was stupid. The way she went out was pointless. It felt forced. Because she went out, her whole thing was she needs the bangles, and she puts them on, and then she's overloaded with power and disintegrates. But that's not how... That wasn't the point. The whole point of her getting them is so that she can steal Earth's sun for her own planet. for her own system to replace the star that Carol kind of destroyed. Kind of, sort of.
Events that Carol started led to it.
But here's the thing. They were nowhere near either.
She was heading toward that
We didn't
tunnel.
see it. We didn't see any of it.
She blew up the portal.
And that was a tear into another reality.
Yeah, that was gonna.
See?
Okay.
See what I mean?
Okay, because why would have?
I think what they could have done instead is they could have had, she is trying to transfer, and that transfer of energy between our sun and her dead or dying star through this portal tears her apart. And I think make her more of a conduit, and that's how the portal tears open, and then Monica has to go to the other side and fix it. I think that's a better way, because then the villain feels like, then Dar-Benn actually feels like she's dying doing what she was trying to do, instead of dying because she had a Thanos moment where she puts on an Infinity Stone and disintegrates.
I kind of want to go the sadder route. I like the idea of her getting crushed by that plate of steel and getting stabbed through. And she just looks at Carol, and just her dying wish is like, this is your fault. And the ship's falling apart, and the explosion from the ship when her and Monica get out of there, and it explodes, and kind of was being a conduit, it explodes, and that is what would cause the opening as well.
Yeah.
But
do something like that.
So no alternate. So no other.
No,
dimension.
I think the alternate dimension thing could work, if that's how they want to. If that's what they want to do with Monica's character, throw her into that alternate dimension
with the X-Men. That was
then
awesome.
So be it. That's
Spoilers.
okay. I don't
care.
I'm okay with that. They just need to have a concrete reason for it, not just I'm putting on the second bangle and now I have too much power and it's tearing me apart.
It's a cop-out that we've seen too many times.
Too many times.
You're a villain who bit off more than you can chew. Because we've seen some of the Marvel villains are able to bite off more than... Well, Red Skull? No. Yellow Jacket? No. Bit off more than you can chew, got sucked into the dimension. Ronan, in the end, kind of, yeah, he bit off more than he could chew, and he got destroyed with it. Ultron, no. He got defeated. They had to really work hard with him.
Yeah.
Loki, no, he could handle it. But we see this a lot, but I could probably go off with many Disney characters. Jafar
was the first one that came to my mind.
I also thought of if anyone's seen it, Aladdin King of the 40 Thieves, the man with the gold. I've seen that movie so many times, but I forget his name. He's the antagonist that tries to kill Aladdin and his father, but he tries to get the hand of Midas, and he catches it, and it turns him into gold. So we see that many times, but I think just because it was so fast what happened in the movie. They're fighting, they throw her, and she gets squished and stabbed through.
It's location and situation.
I was full on like, oh, and she just looks at Carol like, this is your fault. And I think Carol going in, and because it would have been cool, I think that Carol almost dying, restarting the sun, I could see it. And then we see Monica in her astral plane, like astral form, phase in, grab Carol when she's floating away, and she saves her. And it'll be a cute moment because she's like, I got you this time. Just this moment of them reconnecting slowly throughout the movie. I think this should just been focused on Carol and Monica. That's my personal opinion. I want Kamala to have more. Maybe she could have integrated somewhere in the end. Maybe they could have visited her and it could have led to something. But either way, it should have just been a Captain Marvel sequel. because the consequences of her actions coming up, the consequences of her abandoning her niece not being able to say goodbye to her mother, and all this weight would have been these things would have been so much better to touch upon and keep this tone, have a few funny moments, keep the cat scene with Goose's offspring eating all the saber workers. Could have kept it, but just the weight of the Kree homeworld holla at you, boy. That joke, I was like, no one's gonna say that joke. Nobody. Holla. Its name is Holla. I'm dying. But it had a lot of heavy things that just kept getting overlooked. This planet was dying. They were stealing resources. This villain wanted to be a savior. They hated Captain Marvel, the Annihilator, and she kept saying, I hate that name. And I wish that more... I would have died, Tim, if the Skrull would have looked at her and go, now I know. Now we know why they call you the Annihilator. It would have just hit harder.
It would have.
They just look at her and go, do not talk to us. Because they used to, like, worship her. Mm-hmm. But then for this...
Well, because she saved them.
Yeah. But then for them, this refuge camp to finally go, oh, so this is why the Kree hate you. Because all you do is destroy. And that would have been the turning point of Carol confiding in Monica, like, everything I do. This is why I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to be the Annihilator. I didn't want Earth to know me as this creature that just destroyed other planets. I didn't want to come home to an Earth until finally half the galaxy. And it would have been so cool if we would have seen the blip hit where Carol was at. She could have been fighting the Kree, fighting somewhere else, and we see half the population disappear, and we see Carol. That could have been the beginning of the movie. Carol fighting a mission, and she goes to punch someone, and
she punches dust.
And she punches dust, and she goes, what in the world? And she's flying around, and she then sees the pager. She sees the signal, and that's when I thought her saving Tony was amazing. I think Captain Marvel is just like Superman and Wonder Woman. You just need to treat them right, and you need to understand that, yes, they have these amazing powers, and you need to respect that. Superman can't just get thrown against a wall unless you can convince me that this villain can do that. If Darkseid shows up, I know he's going to beat the crap out of Wonder Woman and Superman. So you need to convince me that Carol is going to get knocked across the wall. So that's why I believe Thanos was able to do that, because he had to be smart. Again, just throwing that out there with mine. But I think that this movie could have had good heart. And I hope you all don't think I hate Kamala. I thought she was a very cute character. But I just feel like this movie should have been about Carol and Monica. That would have been, because their connection was so much stronger, and Kamala just felt like an afterthought. I want her to be on her own team. I want her to be part of the Young Avengers someday, but she didn't need to be a part of this. In my humblest of opinion, this should have been about Monica and Carol.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm about talking it out. We've been doing these little short episodes, but I'm liking them. No, not too many tangents.
Yeah, it's a good discussion.
It was a good discussion. I will rate this movie. It just a stay at home, sit on the couch, not in theaters movie. I'll give it. You know what? I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I'll be honest. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I could honestly see. Oh. Just a sit down, chill movie.
Not like if it's on, I'll watch it. Okay. I'm not gonna go out of my way to turn it on.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it if it's on.
Yeah. If it was on like a streaming service, I'd watch it. If it was on at the gym, I'd do it.
There were issues I had with it. There were things I would have done different, but it wasn't terrible. Because most movies, there's something that I would have done different.
Okay, here's my question for you. Do you think, in a way, though, that we got asked, though, for the title character, well, in my opinion, the title character, I felt that Captain Marvel she was Captain Marvel in this movie.
I agree.
I won't argue. Brie Larson to me is a wonderful Captain Marvel. I just wish that, just like I feel like they're wasting her like Henry Cavill, in my opinion.
Yep.
We are starting to turn into a DC era, and it's sad. And honestly, next year we might see DC turning things around, and they're going to be the ones we go to in theaters if Marvel doesn't start changing things.
And if that's how it is, that's how it is.
Yep. I will tell you right now, I am definitely going to be going seeing Superman and Fantastic Four on the same day. So, well, Tim, anything else you want to add?
I think, just as normal, be kind, love each other, try to be someone's hero. Don't have to put on a cape. Just try to be someone's hero.
That's really all there is to it. And just support each other. Man, I'm trying not to get all sentimental because I just thought this was it was cute. And hopefully we can find something else to watch. But until then, we'll see you later, pitches. Bye.